Hello, I am Leisha Walterman, and this is my Module 8 assignment. Article 1 talked about the Every Student Succeeds Act and its impact on teacher evaluation. Basically, the act ended the federal government's involvement in the creation of teacher evaluation systems. The states are now tasked with that performance of creating and implementing teacher evaluation systems that they have to submit to the U.S. Department of Education. So the states get to decide what goals that their teachers will be working on, as well as what factors will be used to evaluate their teachers. They can use evidence of student achievement, but they need to pull in several factors to evaluate that performance of those teachers. Article 2 was interesting as it gave brief descriptions of several different court cases across the United States that have challenged the different aspects of teacher evaluation. So for example, how those new systems are implemented. Some of the cases addressed that. They thought they were unfair. Some of them thought that the use of students' test scores were not okay. And then also the topic of teacher tenure came up in a court case as well. Article 3 was great to see an overview of the issue of teacher evaluation and why it's such a hot topic right now. So ultimately, our job is to get students to perform. And there was some evidence to show that teachers who were great in the classroom actually were able to help their students score or earn more than a grade's worth of learning, whereas ineffective teachers maybe only help their kids earn a half a year of learning. So that really is the why it's such an issue and why it should be important to us. Talked about the purpose of the teacher evaluation system and also the teachers union responses to the different evaluations and why they think it's unfair. Again, it kind of goes back to some of the court cases that were covered in Article 2. In Turner, any new teacher to the profession or new teacher to Turner, as well as any teacher on cycle, goes through the Turner evaluation process. Each teacher has 2 formal evaluations over the course of the year, so there's usually an evaluation in the first semester and one in the second semester. They sit down for a pre-observation conference before an observation where they can outline what their lesson's going to be and share any objectives of that lesson. The administrator then goes in and does a formal evaluation where they have to fill out a sheet that has those 4 different areas for the administrators to look for. After the observation, the teacher fills out a self-evaluation, which just kind of is an overview of their performance, not specific to that lesson that was observed, but just in general. Lesson planning, communication, home, how they use data, professionalism, as well as interpersonal relations with other staff members. So the teacher fills out that self-evaluation rubric, and then the administrator fills out that same rubric for the teacher. And then at the post-observation conference, they of course talk about the lesson that was observed, but then they look at that rubric and they are able to compare their notes on the parts that they agreed or the parts that they maybe didn't agree on and why that might be. If a teacher feels like they were evaluated inaccurately, they can always add detailed comments to any single part of the online document about the observation itself. They can also add comments to the evaluation rubric if they don't agree with different areas that their administrator brings up. If they truly have an issue and they want to pursue it further, they can contact the KNEA rep in the building and for the district. But teachers on evaluation, so they have the formal steps that they follow. At any point, an administrator feels that a teacher is being ineffective, they can put that person on a plan of improvement where they have to outline the goals for the teacher to improve performance, as well as a support system that's going to be in place to help them improve, and a timeline where they expect all these actions to be taken care of. Throughout the entire process, the administrators have to document what's happening and also what they're seeing the teacher, how they're seeing them improve, or if there's lack of improvement. And at that point, after that whole process, which has to be time-bound, it has to be documented, they may decide that it's not the right fit and the teacher may need to go somewhere else for a position. If the teacher is feeling that they are unjustly let go, they can of course contact their rep, which they could be in contact with the entire process, and they also have the right to due process in our district. Because the question of using student achievement scores to impact teacher evaluation, that whole process is such a hot topic, the article or the case that I found is the one involving the Houston Federation of Teachers and 7 individual teachers against the Houston School District. And the reason they had an issue was because there was a value-added measures in the evaluation system, and there was some kind of secret formula that was involved that they took their current roster of students, they looked at their past student achievement scores from like the state test, and then predicted how the students should grow over the course of the current year. And that was used to determine whether or not a teacher was effective in the classroom. It also, that secret algorithm informed what teachers should be evaluated, who should get bonuses, and who should be fired. So that was the whole basis of this court case. And actually the federal district the court ruled in favor of the teachers because the teachers weren't able to make sure that the calculation of their scores had been done correctly, so they couldn't actually argue whether or not those scores were fairly figured out, and they had no basis to protect their job. So because of that, the federal district court ruled in favor of teachers, and the district no longer uses that measure on the teacher evaluation. As a future administrator, I think the biggest thing about this is remembering why there is the evaluation process to begin with. We are there to help our teachers grow and to positively impact student performance. So I have to act ethically. I can't ever be out to get a teacher, and it definitely cannot be personal means. I just don't like them, so I'm going to go after them. No, because that's going to cause an issue. But if I follow the policy laid out by my district, which goes along with what the state of Kansas expects for teacher evaluation, I'll be good. As long as I document any issues that I see and address that with the teachers as needed, and continue to document. And if I need to put a teacher on a plan of improvement, I have to be very transparent in the process. Again, it can't be because I'm out to get you, because I think you're not doing your job. But if I have valid reasons to put a teacher on a plan of improvement, then I also need to make sure that I'm working hand in hand with them to help them grow. Whether it's me who's meeting with them on a continual basis or an instructional coach. And there have to be very clear there has to be a clear plan of how that teacher can show improvement, because I know that if you're really vague, it probably would seem a little bit more like I'm out to get you. So if there are clear action steps the teacher can follow and clear data to support that they are making gains toward the goals that we set out, I think we'll be good. Again, if it's clear and if I've documented and the teacher is not following through with it, then it's also an indication of they're not meant to be in the profession, or at least at this school. So I think this is going to be a very ethically driven part of my role as an administrator. I just have to make sure that I'm doing what I need to do to make sure all of my teachers are performing the way that they need to. And if they are struggling, I'm there to support them. That sums up my presentation on the legal aspects of teacher evaluation.